Mel, you're on.
Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Coming up on This Week in Baseball, Cincinnati keeps up a century-old tradition and opens the season with all the usual flair. Seattle's hidden charm.
Hey, excuse me, Peter, are those towels ready yet?
Towels need 5 more minutes.
And in Baltimore, fears are put to rest as a presidential kickoff sets the Orioles off on the right foot. But don't worry, be happy. Opening day's all on This Week in Baseball. Opening day in Oakland meant hoisting the American League pennant, then getting the new season underway for Tony La Russa and company. There were a few unusual guests at the proceedings, but nothing at all unusual from Mark McGwire, who helped beat Seattle with his first blast of '89.
Fly ball deep into left field. Goodbye, baseball. The A's now lead 3-0.
McGwire had 3 RBIs altogether. As for Seattle, they got some pretty fair bashing from rookie Ken Griffey Jr., who isn't the only Griffey playing in the majors.
Junior went out and did exactly what he told me he was going to do this winter. He said he was going to go for it, and, he went and did it.
There's a drive into the gap in left center field and deep left center field, and Henderson's not going to get to it. It's off the base of the wall, and Griffey to second base in his first major league at bat, a ringing double off the 375 marker, and we have seen that all spring. Welcome to the show, Ken Griffey Jr.
Seattle also welcomes rookie manager and former A's coach Jim Lefebvre, the Mariners' 5th skipper in 4 years.
When they hired a new manager, it was like, oh, okay, no big deal. It's all the same here. But he has brought with him a whole new attitude and a whole new outlook. And it's something that really needed to be done in the organization, was somebody that came in and said, hey, forget what's happened in the past. And this is the beginning. With each manager, it is a new start, but nobody's really said, we're starting over. And he came in and said, we're starting over, forget it. This is the beginning of the Seattle Mariner era.
This ball club is going to be great. You wait and see. I'm going to have guys start thinking about it right now.
He talks about being of singleness of mind. When a platoon goes out for war, the entire platoon has to have a singleness of mind. If the individuals are too concerned about themselves, everybody's going to get killed. Granted, we're talking about higher stakes, but it's the same principle when we go on the baseball field. If I'm concerned just about my numbers, doing a good job for me, and I'm not concerned about the other guys on the team, you lose that unity, that singleness of mind and of purpose on there, and that obviously is to win. That's what we're all out there for, is to win the pennant.
You're anticipating more than that the play really was going to offer, okay? When you're that close and he hasn't committed, take him, then churn, all right? Well, see, I believe this. Simplicity brings security. Security gives you confidence, and confidence brings you what? Consistency. And that's all we're looking for. By keeping it simple, the man feels secure, and that will give him the confidence to perform on a consistent basis. So you have to rehearse, make it simple, feel secure about it, and your performance goes up.
Looking for their first winning season, the Mariners didn't dare leave spring training without their good luck charm. Take it away, Mark Langston.
The locker room. A lot of magical things happen in this locker room. For the 1989 Seattle Mariners, we have some magic of our own, and it's Pete the Mule Fortune, a clubhouse guy. Let's go meet this young man. Here he is, Pete Fortune. Pete, do you mind if we follow you throughout the day?
No, I don't mind.
Great. We'll be with Pete the rest of the day. One of the reasons we feel that we have such a unique person here with Pete Fortune is because he really gets into what he does. Pete, excuse me, Peter, are those towels ready yet?
The towels need 5 more minutes.
The man says the towel needs 5 more minutes. They got to have 5 more minutes. This is what we're talking about. Thanks, Pete.
Another one of Pete Fortune's job is he's also the assistant trainer to Rick Griffin. He has to prepare the ice for the players at the end of the game. Let's see what he's doing. Pete, how you doing today? What's the temperature in there?
About that, 30 to 30 degrees.
Get those ice bags ready for the players when they're done. Good job, Pete. See ya. One of Pete's ambitions is to be a PA announcer at a Major League ballpark. Let's see if we can catch him. This is where he practices when he's not in the...
Number 14.
You mind? I'm trying to practice.
Next up, number 14, center fielder Mickey Brantley.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this day as much as we did with Pete the Mule Fortune. And this story does have a happy ending. Pete did get to fulfill his dream of being a PA announcer at a ballpark. And one day, maybe he'll be at a Major League ballpark. Good job, Pete.
Batting third, first baseman number 21, Alvin Davis.
Time now to open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's Twib Notes from around the majors. Jerry Royce of the White Sox, who turns 40 in June, began his 20th season by two-hitting the Angels for 7 innings and picking up the win. Royce got help from another old-timer, catcher Carlton Fisk. There it goes, a home run. Combined, they're more than 80 years old, the oldest opening day battery ever. At age 41, Charlie Huff is another ageless wonder. Still knuckling after all these years, Huff opened the Texas Rangers season with a complete Game 5 hitter, beating the Tigers for his first shutout since 1986. Mike Schmidt, the Phillies' great home run hitter, looked like his old swinging self at Wrigley Field when he started the season with home runs in his first 2 games. All that after a shoulder operation last September that almost ended his career. Time now for the answer to this week's quiz, brought to you by today's Chevy truck. Tom Seaver holds the all-time record for most consecutive opening day starts with 12.
Glenn Close in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see
by the dawn's early light?
The national anthem, probably best known to major leaguers, because after all, they hear it at least 162 times a year, not to mention spring training. So, with all that spared time during the song, what do players think about?
I try and focus on one thing, and, you know, the eyes play such an important part in what we do. I try and find an object to focus on the whole time during the anthem and try and zero my concentration.
What I try to do is concentrate on what I'd like to do during the ball game, the opposing pitcher, what he's done with me in the past, what I'd like to do against him.
During national anthems, when the adrenaline really starts pumping for me, that's when I start really getting it going. And as soon as it's over with, it's time. It's time to go to war.
A lot of times I think about, you know, the different guys that went to war for the national anthem and the courage they showed and everything.
It's great to stand out there in your uniform, lined up in front of the dugout, and see 50,000 people in the stands and think as to why we're all here in our great country, and you get very patriotic.
The anthem may bring out the patriot in some, but in others it seems to spark some sort of wild delusions of grandeur.
During the national anthem, I convinced myself how great I am and that I'm not going to make any critical errors today, and that I'm the best manager in the world, and that anything I do will be right no matter the outcome, so let's go. And that's why in Toronto I really get pumped up with 2 anthems. I'm really ready in Toronto.
Fans, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. In 1939, the game honored its early heroes with induction into baseball's permanent Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. This season, we'll mark the anniversary with periodic features, profiles, notes, and quotes. So let's begin with Hall of Fame sports writer and our great friend, Joe Reichley. For more than 22 years, Joe covered baseball for the Associated Press. After serving as an aide to the baseball commissioner, he helped launch This Week in Baseball. But it was the writing beat that Joe loved most of all.
I covered baseball in the United States, wherever the action was. For example, when Maris and Mantle went for Babe Ruth's record simultaneously, it was tremendous news. I immediately joined him and spent about a month with the two teams. As a matter of fact, the ball players had a name for me. It might have been derisively, it might have been affectionately, I don't know. They called me the front runner. Here comes the front runner. When I would, I'd join a club and I'd walk into the clubhouse, and then people would look and say, hey, look who's here, Reichler, the front runner. And I would get up there, my two hind legs, and put my hands on my hips deliberately, look them all over and say, you sons of guns, you fellas should bow when I come in, because when I come to you, it means that you're doing well. That's why I'm here. If you weren't doing well, I wouldn't be here. We used to kid like that,
Owing to Joe's passion for baseball history, he compiled more than a dozen books, most notably the definitive Baseball Encyclopedia. It was in 1980 that Joe received perhaps his greatest reward when he was enshrined in the sports writers wing of the Hall of Fame.
Well, you talk about great moments. I suppose that's the epitome for everybody. No matter what field you're in, to be picked by your peers as among, I suppose, the best, and at least recognized for what contribution you might have made, and to realize that my name forever will be in a Hall of Fame, and that my children and grandchildren and friends and others would see in perpetuity. That's something that doesn't happen to everybody, so I'd be fooled to tell you that I just take it for granted.
For all of Joe's memories, he was happiest with notepad in hand.
I think those were the happiest moments of my life, the happiest times of my life when I was writing.
Pal, we'll miss you. Time now for our Player of the Week, brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. The Yankees' 46-year-old Tommy John had been given up for old age, but on opening day against the Twins, TJ used his age-old secrets to beat Minnesota. John hadn't figured in Dallas Green's '89 plans, but he turned out to be the team's best spring pitcher and got the opening day job. The win gave John victory number 287.
Speeding in fluids and minerals. Supplying energy to working muscles. Nothing cuts through your thirst like Gatorade.
Next week, we'll meet Jim Abbott, the college phenom who jumped right to the majors. That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.